Okay, very good afternoon to everyone. My name is Samrat Kumar. I am the country coordinator of Euraxess in India, and it's a great pleasure to bring you the second episode of our webinar in partnership with FICOR Finland about PhD and postdoc positions in Finland. We already had a very great webinar yesterday where we presented different programs, flagship programs, and university doctoral programs at Finnish universities to you. And today we continue with an exciting journey through the Finnish higher education research landscape with some very excellent programs where we will have speakers who will tell you more about what they have in for you, like if you're interested in a PhD postdoc position in Finland. Without any further delay, I would like to also welcome our speakers, our co-organizer from FICOR, Ms. Kit Srinivasan, who is also again here with us today. Kit, this has been quite exciting so far, and we're of course very happy, that we are again, creating a large number of attendees and attention towards Finland as a destination for PhD and postdoc fellows. Kit, please, the floor is yours. Share a few words about FICOR, about Finland, about yourself to the audience. Thank you.
Good evening, India, and good afternoon to all my colleagues from Finland. Very happy to invite you to this webinar on behalf of Finnish India Consortia for Research and Education, which is kind of a foundation of higher education institutes from Finland and India, collaborating on research and development projects and innovation entrepreneurship. And this is a brilliant opportunity to reach out to you to tell about or to promote about the research excellence of Finnish universities, academia in general. You may have known that Finland is the happiest country in the world, and we are also based in other aspects like research excellence and startup or entrepreneurship ecosystems. So we would like to show you just a glimpse of some niche areas that we are super good in, and then we hope to continue this collaboration with Euraxess so that we are able to showcase more and more of our niche areas in research and other innovation aspects to the Indian scholars or to the whole world in the form of webinars or other sorts of events. Please keep an open mind about the webinar series and learn as much as possible through these webinars about Finnish academia and the excellent research possibilities that they are offering to you, and the world-class research infrastructures almost all of the Finnish universities have. Make a benefit of it, and then we have a good and very good fellowship opportunities and funding opportunities as well. I'll be posting you a lot of useful links that will tell you about where to look for PhD positions or postdoc positions and what kind of fellowships and other funding possibilities are available. Also links about research ecosystem in Finland in general. I wish you all the best, and since we are a happy country, we want to make it still better with your expertise joining us in the future. We welcome all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kit, for your very nice introductory words. And just to give us a few practical information, so we're gonna share, of course, the recording of this webinar, the slides with you. You have the chance to pose questions. This is really a great opportunity. I really encourage you to use, the time of the speakers. These are very, busy people, professors, teachers. So use them. They're here with us for the next, 75 minutes or so more. But please use the Q&A function, and don't use the chat, because it will just create, too much. For us, confusion. Like if you put everything in the Q&A, we will try to systematically address your questions, right? Okay, so now without any further delay, we welcome our first speaker, which is Professor Matti Hämäläinen. He's professor and head of Department of Neuroscience and Biomedical Engineering from Aalto University. A very good afternoon to you, Professor Matti. And you will talk about health tech, med tech, and brain research to us, and tell us what opportunities are there within this fields and programs. Thank you so much, Professor Matti. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the invitation to join this webinar. And as already mentioned, I'm the head of Department of Neuroscience and Biomedical Engineering at Aalto University in Espoo, Finland. And I have put here one of the punchlines of our university, which is indeed related to what we said before, shaping a sustainable future. And I think many of the things I will talk about really relate to that. So Aalto University was founded in 2010 as a coalition of 3 existing leading universities in Finland: the Helsinki University of Technology, the University of Art and Design in Helsinki, and the Helsinki School of Economics. And we have 6 schools: School of Arts, Design and Architecture, School of Business, School of Chemical Engineering, School of Electrical Engineering, and School of Engineering, and School of Science, where I come from. And we have about 12,500 full-time students and about 400 professors. And here are on the right are the numbers of decrease from our university each year, about 200 PhDs each year. And we are located in Espoo. The campus is shown here at the center of this circle. It's in Otaniemi, very close to Helsinki actually. And we are well connected to University of Helsinki and Meilahti Health Campus and other organizations as well. But I think these University of Helsinki connections and Meilahti Health Campus connections are most important in terms of what I am going to talk about. So, Department of Neuroscience and Biomedical Engineering. So why are we together? And here's one diagram which tells you something about that. Because our thinking is that top-level basic neuroscience cannot exist without technical innovations made in the same place in a purposeful manner, so that the basic neuroscience and innovations interact with each other. In addition to this, we work together with the Helsinki University Hospital very closely to develop clinical applications of what we do here at our department. And another sort of philosophical slide is here, and it emphasizes the need of multidisciplinary research. And on the right, there are 3 pictures. One of them is labeled multi, the middle inter, and the third one, convergence. So we aim at not having people from different disciplines talking to each other. It's not often enough even for them to talk with each other, but what we really aim at is convergence, which means that we can learn about other disciplines so much that we can not only contribute our discipline, but also appreciate the achievements of others and engage in research, doing work together, and finally abolish the boundaries and kind of create people who are fusions of these disciplines and can bring ideas to any aspect of what we are doing. Here is a list of the laboratories in our department. You can see here that there are many laboratories corresponding basically to the faculty members of the department. And this list might seem a little bit mind-boggling in the sense that there are many different things. Some of them are very much related to physics, like bioelectromagnetism. The others are on the other end of the spectrum, like empathy-building neurolab, which is really cognitive research. And then there are laboratories which are very technical and enabling technology with the others. For example, Heikki Nieminen's lab finds new uses for ultrasound in medicine in general. And another example is this MEG MRI brain imaging, which combines 2 existing methods, MEG magnetoencephalography and MRI. Now, if you try to find something common in this, one common thing is really neuroimaging, non-invasive neuroimaging. And especially in the several decades past, we have developed a method called magnetoencephalography, MEG, to great sophistication, and also produced spin-off companies producing devices using this method. Another aspect is the stimulation of the brain, so that we use transcranial magnetic stimulation together with other neuroimaging methods to understand the brain better, and also to ultimately find treatment options, so that we both try to record from the brain and affect the brain to increase health. And how the department is organized such that we, in addition to these research groups, have also very strong infrastructure, which contains several top-of-the-line imaging devices which are available for everyone to use at the same price per hour for anybody within Aalto University and also from other universities. So we have MEG, we have 3D MRI, and also behavioral laboratory, which is essential for understanding human cognition especially. I have here two examples of our laboratories related to brain imaging and stimulation. One of them is Professor Lauri Parkkonen's Neuroimaging Methods Laboratory, which presently aims at creating devices and methods for high-resolution MEG, and it does so by using novel magnetic field sensors called optically pumped magnetometers, which can be freely placed close to the brain so that we get better resolution in terms of where things are happening in the brain. And at the same time, he develops analysis methods to use these new devices optimally, and also is engaged with basic neuroscientific research as well as clinical applications in collaboration with Helsinki University Central Hospital. Another example is Professor Risto Ilmoniemi's transcranial magnetic stimulation project. And he aims at being able to stimulate multiple locations in the brain in sequence, and this is done with real-time feedback from EEG so that you can base the stimulation on its effect on the brain. And also he uses connectivity information, anatomical connectivity information from the brain obtained with MRI. And remarkably, he has obtained an ERC, European Research Council Synergy grant, to develop this technology further together with two other sites, one in Tübingen in Germany and other one in Chieti in Italy. And of course, any of these projects involve several postdocs and graduate students, PhD students in their work. And in terms of teaching, we are involved in bachelor's degree programs, providing courses and supervising bachelor's thesis, but really our bread and butter is master's and PhD degrees. In the master's degrees, we have a strong contribution to a master's degree program called Life Science Technologies, with in particular two majors, biomedical engineering and human neuroscience and technology, which directly correspond to what we are doing in the department. So I would say that the research and teaching are like inseparable in our department. They are like two sides of the coin. It's not possible to say which one comes first, because they work closely together. In terms of the doctoral studies, we have many graduate students who participate in the School of Science doctoral program, and they conduct their thesis work in the research groups in our department. And also there's a Helsinki-wide doctoral program, Helsinki area-wide doctoral program called Brain and Mind, which is clearly multidisciplinary, and this training network connects University of Helsinki and Aalto University very close together, and not only in terms of teaching, but also in terms of using the facilities in our university and the University of Helsinki together. And indeed, we have many opportunities in these different groups, and I would like to say still that our research goes through all levels of length scales, from molecules to cells to organs to the whole human being, and finally to groups of humans, if you think about empathy, for example, which clearly involves several people. So thank you, and I leave the floor for other speakers.
Thank you so much, Professor Hämäläinen. It's been a very interesting presentation, and also to see, what kind of research is going on in the sectors, and I'm sure you will get a lot of queries and interest after this webinar. I hope you have the time to stay with us for the Q&A session. We would really like to have you with us. Thank you so much for that. And I would say we go to our next presenter, which is Professor René Uruenia. He's a professor of law and the chair of the board of the doctoral school at the University of Lapland. And he will tell us about the Arctic in a Changing World PhD program. We're very much looking forward to your presentation. Of course, again, a very warm welcome to you, Professor René Uruenia, and the floor is yours.
So much for the invitation, and hello everyone. So very happy to be able to talk to you here about our doctoral programs. So what I'll do is I'll try to give you kind of a general landscape of the kind of doctoral and postdoctoral opportunities that we have in different departments. And of course, for specific departments, we're happy to follow up. Either I can follow up directly, or with my colleague Natalia, who is in charge of strategic international relations, who is also here in the call and who has helped me produce this presentation. So thank you so much for the invitation. So 3 or 4 things that I'll try to tell you very fast. So the first one about the university. So the University of Lapland is really the northernmost university in the European Union. So we're really, really up there. We are close to the Arctic Circle, in fact. And then the university is located in Rovaniemi. That's the capital of Lapland. And so everything wonderful that you have heard about Lapland, so the beautiful landscapes, the nature, the sea, the reindeers, all that is true. I can tell you that. So I'm here, and it's a wonderful place to live. And we have 4 faculties, and our faculties, as you will see, are mostly focused on social sciences. So I think this is a good complement, because I saw in the Q&A before that some folks were asking about postdoc in law, social sciences. So that's kind of the areas that we cover. We have 4 faculties: art and design, education, law, and social sciences. And we have an Arctic Center that is an interdisciplinary Arctic Center that focuses, as is obvious, on Arctic issues. And I'm going to be talking a bit more about that. So the university, because of its location and because of its strategic choice, focuses a lot on Arctic issues. But when we speak about Arctic issues, really we think about Arctic issues as an entry point into issues that have to do with environmental governance and regulatory issues about the Arctic. So there are several overlaps that are not geographically restricted to the Arctic, but it's rather a way to enter into a set of debates that affect, obviously, everyone as a whole. So that's the University of Lapland, and one important focus is then Arctic issues, and then, as you're going to see, other issues that are overlap or are connected with that. So the university, our university is really focused very much on the students. We are we have small courses and we have small programs. So, and our ratio with professors, students is very favorable, meaning that it is very possible to meet professors, to work directly with professors, and most PhD students are able to join different UArctic activities. Our campus is completely green, and it's very close by the countryside, forest, woods, all that. It's a very lovely campus, very connected to nature. And most importantly, perhaps, is the university is also very much integrated into the University of Art, into the International Secretariat of the University of the Arctic. So what is that? It's really a network of different universities in Norway, Sweden, Canada that deal with Arctic issues. So that it's a really well-connected university in terms of its networks. And and focused obviously in this part, at least in Arctic issues. So more about and I'm going to move forward towards this, and of course I can answer more questions in the Q&A, or Natalia can help me also with that. So about our doctoral programs, we have two different lines of doctoral programs that you might be interested in. So on the one hand, we have each of our faculties, arts, education, law, and social sciences. They manage their own discipline-specific doctoral programs. So meaning that you're able to have either a doctoral degree or do postdoctoral studies through each of the faculties in art, in education. And how does that work in particular? Well, you can contact, and I'll tell you a bit more about that in a minute. You can contact directly a professor, or you can join through one of the projects that are being developed in each of the faculties. A lot of the projects, and you can find them in our website, a lot of the projects are interdisciplinary. And a lot of our projects today have to do very much with indigenous issues, environmental issues, obviously climate change, and a lot having to do with digitalization. So these kind of issues, if you're interested in the social sciences, education, art, regulation, law dimension of all of this, the University of Lapland, I'm sure, has very interesting programs for you. So as I was telling you, on the one hand, we have the discipline-specific doctoral programs. That's one possible venue for you to come here. And then the other is our cross-disciplinary program that is called the Arctic in a Changing World. So as the name suggests, the focus of that program is really to understand how to balance the diverse interests regarding life in the Arctic. But as I was telling you before, the Arctic is a way to start researching different issues that are connected with the Arctic, but have obviously planetary implications. And there are three themes that we focus on this cross-disciplinary program. The first one is communities, inclusion, and welfare. There we talk about indigenous groups, inclusion, social welfare, animal welfare, etc. Inclusion, obviously, that includes economic inequality, so on and so forth, and welfare, as I was telling you before, a lot of regulation and a welfare state. The second is governance transitions in the Arctic. A lot there has to do with environmental regulation, law and politics, rights of minorities, climate change law, climate finance, so on and so forth. So my own research is focused precisely on that part. I'm an international lawyer by training, and that's where I work here at the University of Lapland. And then finally, we have the third theme, which is or rather focuses on art, design, and service innovation. There, our Faculty of Art and Design is very innovative in terms of using design thinking and this way of iterative design thinking in order to join forces with the other faculties and to develop new answers to traditional governance and obviously artistic and design issues. So those are the three main themes in the discipline, in the cross-disciplinary program. And also you have the disciplinary programs, doctoral or postdoctoral programs in law, education, social sciences, and art and design, finally. So our doctoral program, and I'm going to focus a bit in doctoral program, in the structure of our doctoral program here. It's a pretty traditional in the sense of a doctoral program, in the sense that you have to take at the beginning certain credits, and then obviously you have to write your thesis. But the reason why I'm telling you folks that this here is that the doctoral school tries to bring people together in order to do transdisciplinary work. So that means that you, if you decide to come here, you are going to be very much in touch with people doing work in the other faculties and the other programs. And we call that segment of the doctoral education structure, this philosophy of research segment. Which is 20 credits in which you really will be able to develop knowledge together with people doing very interesting stuff from other faculties. And then obviously your own thematic studies. So it's the focus really is on having you as doctoral students to come here and have an experience that involves interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary conversations, but at the same time, obviously developing expertise in a particular field or in a particular theme area as our Arctic studies. So how to do this? Well, we have an open application period that closes in the 20th of February, and then you can see that in our webpage, the information that you're going to need, the documents that you're going to need, and then the second application period is in October from the 1st to the 22nd. So meaning that you can find information and the documents that you need in order to apply beginning on the 6th of February, ending on the 20th of February 2024, or then in the 1st of October and then to the 22nd of October. The application procedure is relatively easy, and mostly what I would encourage you folks to do is to get in touch with a professor in your academic field. That person is going to help you through with the kind of projects that could be interesting for you, or that person, he can direct you to someone who's doing more interesting stuff in what you are thinking about in particular. If you don't know exactly how to do that, then I'm going to leave at the end of this presentation both Natalia's and my email, so you can reach out and we can get you in touch with, depending on your interest and depending on which faculty you want to work with, we can get you in touch with people who might be interesting for you. And then you can write a research plan and, make your personal research plan and then apply online. It's very easygoing, no problem at all. Everything is online. And obviously the idea is that you develop a program that is tailor-made for your own interests in the context of the programs that they presenting here. And then, finally, some practical issues, because I myself have come to Finland from abroad, so I know that these practical issues are also important. The university does provide and help with housing, so they can help you find housing through the Domus Arctica program. Finnish courses are available, and then the university is going to help you out with all requirements with the immigration office, and there are several opportunities in terms of winter sports. Obviously, this is Lapland. Snow is wonderful. There's a ski resort that is part of the city, and then obviously you can go and see the reindeers and see the aurora borealis, winter lights, and all these wonderful things that one reads about. They really are here. So that's kind of the information that we have here. I'm going to leave you with our emails. Obviously, the organizers are going to share them with you. And then if you have any questions, both Natalia and I, we are here till the end of the day, so you can ask any questions. So looking forward to your comments and questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Uliwina. It was a very interesting presentation, and also, seeing also that you yourself, have come to Finland, and and telling a bit about your own path has been, I think, very inspiring. And of course, I'm very happy that you're staying with us until the end. And I'm sure there will be questions also towards you and the program you have presented to us. But thank you also that you and Natalia are here with us also to look at a bit into the chat and see if there's something you could also already address now. Next, I would like to welcome Professor Yanni Erola, Director of Invest, Research Flagship Center at the University of Turku. And Yanni, we are very much interested to hear about this program, and we understand that in Finland, flagship programs, that's what it is right now, because also yesterday we already got to know about the 6G flagship program, and today you will tell us about the Invest flagship program. So the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will share the slides as well. Thanks for inviting me here. I'm indeed Jani Erola, professor of sociology here at the University of Turku, and running one of the Finnish research flagship centers. We were one of the 6 initial ones that were launched in 2019. And we're still the only one in social sciences and humanities. So this is, I think we have a unique spot among the flagships, Finnish flagships in general. And the name of our flagship is Invest. People tend to assume that's something to do with the money, but only indirectly. So Invest stands for Inequalities, Interventions, and the New Welfare State. So that's why the slogan for the New Welfare State that you will see all over the place in our materials. So what we do is that we provide a new model for the welfare state. I mean, this is of course something that the Nordic societies and Finland in particular is known for, that we have excellent, equal, skill promoting society, particular type of welfare state. But of course, this welfare state is also facing issues, especially related to the demography. The population aging is really threatening all of these countries, and I think it's actually facing all of most of the developed countries in general are facing the same issue. But Finland is in that regard also one of the first ones to really crash into this population aging and the issue related to that. So in order to maintain the welfare state, what we need is a slightly improved, better welfare state model that we have now. And that's of course what we want to do. That it has to be more equal, better targeted to the problem groups, more anticipatory, as well as so economically and socially sustainable. So this is another type of sustainability that we shouldn't forget either, and that goes in hand with also environmental sustainability that is crucial for all of us. And all of this, what we're doing is based on the cutting-edge research. We evaluate and develop universal and targeted interventions to improve welfare state institutions. As good as they are now, there's definitely room for improvement there as well. And especially we are targeting the specific time periods during the life course, at this time, mostly during childhood, youth, and early adolescence. So how this is formed? So we are a joint research center that most of the things happen here in Turku at the Faculty of Social Sciences, but also in the Faculty of Medicine. So what we have here is basically a big sociology and psychology groups, but basically covering all social sciences more or less nowadays. And then we have a child psychiatry group at the Faculty of Medicine, and then we have a versatile research group at the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare in Helsinki. And indeed, this is funded or was funded when we launched through the Academy of Finland flagship program. That funding still goes on. But of course, this has been kind of expanding quite rapidly during these years already. So this is only slight proportion at the moment anymore, the flagship funding alone. So there's lots of other things happening with us in general. So here are actually our goals. So what we do is that, okay, we know that there, despite of all the good things that the Nordic welfare state can do to children and adolescents, of course there are issues. And so what we first do is that we try to deepen our understanding on the things that limit the well-being and skill development among the children and youth. We then look at the existing benefits, services, and in general efficiency gaps in the current welfare state, and also not only in Finland but also in other nations as well. And based on this understanding, we then evaluate, implement, and develop new social innovations, especially in the form of both universal and targeted evidence-based interventions. So, for instance, one of the recently retired PAs was the person who was basically developing Finnish basic income experiment that was done a few years back. the general aim here is to improve the well-being and skill development, not only children, but perhaps also more broadly in society. And that should then result in this new welfare state 2.0 that we sometimes call it as well. Now, well, as I already mentioned, that this has been growing quite a bit since 2019. We started with, I think, about 50 researchers, but now we are hosting about 250 researchers and doing really versatile cross-disciplinary research. And so we are basically calling this as an ecosystem rather than just a research center, because there are lots of different connections, not only researchers, but also teachers, public organizations, third sector organizations, companies, students, families, and so forth, that are trying to improve the well-being in the Finnish society in particular. But of course, we cannot rely on the experiences of Finland only. We have to broaden the information and understanding of what is happening in other societies as well. And this basically shows what kind of a structure that we have in Invest. So in the center, you have the 6 main research themes that we have: social inequality and well-being, then my own area, intergeneration and within family influences, research on social relationships and networks, demography and life course, skills and learning, and health and biology. And most of the research what we are doing are not really falling in any single slot of these, but rather they tend to be often at least crossing 2 or 3 of these themes together. And this is what we also aim at in order to facilitate cross-disciplinary research. Then on the left side, we have things that I think, what really makes us globally unique, which is the data resources, what we call it the Invest in Reg data infrastructure. So what we have is an entirely unique full population data from Finland, where we are combining not only excellent full population registers for 1970 onwards, but also information on genes and also the other kind of information that has been collected otherwise. And then we have Kiva RCT. Kiva is the largest anti-bullying RCT that has been ever developed. It was done 10 years ago, and that initial stage of this, now it has been implemented over 40% of the Finnish schools and all over the globe, basically. And what in this part of the data, this data is also these kids who have been studied in 2009. They have then followed through the registers and also gathered new information, these people personally, in order to follow what actually happens to them afterwards. And then we have a bunch of other data sources as well, but this is really the part that makes us unique by data resources. And then we have Invest Hub, which is a platform for social experiments and interventions. Now, when we are developing these interventions, we have to make sure that they work, and this Invest Hub is the kind of a place where we're utilizing in order to make sure of that. Now, if we want to change the social welfare state in general, I mean, of course, you have to have a policy impact, and this is where I think we are globally stellar as well. So we have really interwoven to the policy making processes, kind of a tight-knit connection to that part as well, in Finland and to some extent in Europe and more broadly. So what we have here is that we have the interventions that are kind of the basic founding brick of the whole thing. We have the Kiva anti-bullying program, Strongest Families, which is anti-depression and the digital intervention to support families. Then we have Kamu program, which is also the peer relations and bullying program for the secondary education. And then we also are trying to develop other social innovations in the same regard in the other areas of everyday life. And on top of that, what we are doing is that we have this science advisory hub to do this science advisory to the decision makers. We have InVenture, which is basically idea is making these interventions also commercial. For instance, Kiva is now sold globally abroad, and as the same applies to the Strongest Families program. And also we have this InNext co-creation platform in order to make sure that those who we are actually studying can actually participate themselves also in the research process, also otherwise than being just a target of research. Now, this has been really growing fast. We started with the Flagship grant, but of course we are encouraging people to apply other funds as well. So we are standing somewhere about a bit over 50 million at the moment, 250 researchers approximately, 28 PIs in different projects, over 50 research projects. We have now 2 ERC advanced grants going on and a couple of NIH grants as well. And this is where we also encourage people to do when they come to work as us, that you also apply your own grants in order to advance your own career. And yeah, I guess the big part here is that what kind of stands out as well makes us stand out as well, and in terms of the flagships, is that we are kind of already within a society to the extent that I think it's unique in general. So, for instance, like I already mentioned, these Kiva programs, anti-bullying programs, they are already applied in 40% of all the Finnish schools. Kiva is now already applied in 21 countries, and Voimaperheet, this was actually from a year ago, they were in 1/3 of the Finnish municipalities, but I think they nowadays are already almost in the 80% of the municipalities, so that has been really blown up. That's a big thing. And of course, this development of digital interventions, social interventions, they are the big area where there's going to be lots of things happening in the near future in general. And here's just a list for the people, because we have these research teams that are quite big in general, but each of them have their own director. So Professor Mikko Niemelä is taking care of the socioeconomic inequality and well-being. Myself, I'm in charge of the intergenerational within family influences and research related to that. Professor Kristiina Salmivalli is in charge of the social relations and social network part. Marika Jalovaara for demography and life course. Professor Johanna Kaakinen, skills and learning, and finally Professor Anders Sorander for health and biology. But of course, almost all of the research, like I mentioned, that are kind of happening in the multiple areas of these research themes. And this is basically just show you what is kind of happening, that this has been expanding the whole ecosystem constantly, and I think this is something that will probably grow further in the forthcoming years. Now, something about then the master's and PhD programs, and I guess most of the people here are for the information for the PhD program in particular, but I just say a few words about the master's program as well. So the whole Invest is in general intended to be cross-disciplinary, and so this is something that we also aim to do in the master's and PhD programs as well. So master's program is cross-disciplinary, it's international. We utilize our world-class researchers in social and behavioral sciences to educate the students with a strong emphasis on quantitative research skills. So that is the idea, that if we think about one thing that we know, that everybody who's graduating from us, they will know how to use these quantitative methods to actually study and to make conclusions about the society in general. And this is the area we're really kind of putting emphasis and lots of effort to. We have annual intake here as well, and the next call for application is in January 2024. If you're interested in that, I think the application period is only 2 weeks, so you have to really make sure that you make it in time. Then we have the doctoral program Invest. Maybe I have to say something that when we were designing this the master's program, I think I kind of basically imagine all the good stuff that I think people should in social sciences learn, social and behavioral sciences, and I think we managed to actually implement all of that to the program. I think if I would start studying anything, that would be our own program probably. But now at the moment, there was more urgent at the moment is the application to the PhD program. The application period is actually open right now. And for those who are chosen, the study rights begin in the beginning of the next year. And we have the call is twice a year. So basically, this is the autumn call where we also have fully funded positions, and there will be a new call in February, starting from the end of February to the mid-March, basically. So, and I guess where there's continuing the same idea with this program as well, the master's program as well, that we have strong emphasis of that everybody will know these methods when they are graduated and can actually do on their own world-class research on these topics. And then about the vacancies, of course, this is we have, I mean, I think I've been actually since 2009, I feel that I've been only recruiting people. This is like always, like most of my time goes there. And indeed, we basically have been almost every month something going on. So for instance, now we have, again, open 2 senior researchers positions, either research fellows, senior researchers, or project researchers in the project DigiParent, where there's aiming at implementation, personalization, and genetics in digitally assisted parent training intervention to improve the child mental health services. This is the project of Andres Sorander, and there's an open call right now. And in general, I think there will be a couple of calls probably already before the Christmas for the other projects as well. So this has been constantly going on, and there are constantly positions open here. Then we have a fellowship program that has been a massive success as well. We have Invest Fellowships that are intended to 1 to 3 or up to, well, the maximum 6 months visit to the Flagship to collaborate with our researchers and in the project that are basically organized under these research themes. And these are targeted especially to the postdoctoral students who want to visit Flagship. One of the catchiest areas that the people also tend to have projects that have involved the register data, so you can get the access to the registers as well when you are here. And the next application period here for this starts in October 23. We basically have this visiting program called Open twice a year as well. So, but there's another link for that as well. And then there's, of course, other alternatives. Well, I mean, of course, you can come to study with us. You can come to work with us in the positions. You can come to visit us if you prefer to. But the fourth option that I would like to actually bring more in the front is that you can also apply grants with us. So, because this is often a nice opportunity to actually people, even if you do not quite know what you would like to do, but you know that there's something that is appealing for yourself and us as well, then the one option is really indeed apply grants for us. And where we have had most success, I guess, is the Academy of Finland grant application. So basically, there's Academy Research Fellow grants that are run for 4 years, fully funded, and you can get also the grants for your some grant money for your research costs. Although in the Flagship Center, we can cover almost all the research costs anyway, so you don't have to worry that much about that. But that's one option, and now the deadline is in the end of the year for those grants. And then there's, of course, Marie Curie grants. There's annual support for the University of Turku for that. And this is something that we would be really keen to look in these opportunities. If you are interested in Marie Curie applications, be in contact with us. And then, of course, the flagships of the grant money is ERCs. I think we have super nice support structure to actually help people to apply ERC grants here in Turku, and this is definitely something that is worthwhile to checking out. So, and how to proceed with this? You of course need to have your own interest and your own topic to suggest, and when you have that, I encourage you to connect to a potential supervisor, either directly looking at the website or through our general Invest email address. But that's it. Thank you very much, and I'm really happy to answer any questions you might have later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Jani Erola. A very interesting program. Of course, it was very interesting that Invest, of course, immediately brings to one's mind, something with finances, but this is a really very interesting program and the research areas you have. And also thank you for mentioning about the EU mobility programs, the Marie Curie and the ERC. These are also channels where researchers can apply and come to your university as a grantee. So this is also a great opportunity if you are interested to come to Finland. There are the national programs which have opportunities, but there are also the multilateral, international, like European programs like Marie Curie and ERC. Yes, now we move on to our final speaker of today, which is Professor Ronald Österbacka at the Faculty of Science and Engineering at the Abo Academy. And he will tell us about technologies for a sustainable future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for a kind invitation to allow me to come and talk a little bit about one of the strategic research profiles at Åbo Academy University about technologies for a sustainable future. My name is Ronald Österbacka, professor of physics, but also chairing the board of this particular call for allowing people to have mobility vision. Basically, we are located next to Jani Eerola's university in the city of Turku in the southwest corner of Finland. So Åbo Academy here to the left, you can actually see the street view outside of from the Bishop Street, looking at a typical busy winter day in Turku, Finland. All three people you see there are probably students or faculty walking around in the streets. We have about 5,000 students and about 1,500 staff and graduate students in Åbo Academy. And in the Faculty of Science and Engineering, which is roughly half of the university, located also mostly on the campus in Turku, is hosting this particular research profile, Technologies for a Sustainable Future. Very briefly about if you are interested in some of the international master's programs that are hosted by the faculty, and that might be of interest for you in relation to the Technologies for a Sustainable Future. We have three programs: Sustainable Chemical and Process Engineering, Information Technology, and Biomedical Imaging. The calls for these open early next year and follow pretty much the same procedure as for all the other universities as already have been mentioned here. Thanks for that to all my co-panelists for providing very useful information. But let's give me a little bit of the possibility of showing what the vision is and what type of research is being done within the Technology for a Sustainable Future. Is that the vision is, of course, to be creating a carbon dioxide neutral and zero waste industry and society in the end. It's very much focused around chemical engineering and natural sciences, and understanding that these are the drivers for the technology change that is about to come. So the idea is to develop feasible and affordable technologies for converting biomass into value-added chemicals, materials, and energy, direct use of carbon, hydrogen and energy from the sun. New solutions create new needs, so we work constantly to find new and more efficient processes and sustainable alternatives. So the general idea is around molecular process technology and energy-related research. I will give you a few case examples in the broader field of what type of research that is being done, and you can find more information in our research webpage, which is research.abo.fi. Much of the work is being done in a very interdisciplinary way between different research units, different universities, in large networks, and in international collaboration. One of the things that we do quite a lot is creating value from biomass. Since Finland have a lot of forest, a lot of forestry product is being developed, and this is of course a renewable resource with unique chemical compositions. And now all the Finnish paper industry is being converted into biorefineries. And so here are a lot of research that is being done and conducted on creating new components from wood, either from the side stream, waste products, or even constructing value-added products using new manufacturing technologies like 3D printing, for instance. High-temperature chemistry, combustion, and the circular economy, taking care of all the waste streams, utilizing understanding of how combustion can be better in order to create more fuel efficient and create better fuels. Thermal energy, thermal conversion of side streams, and some work which is done very close collaboration with energy technology partners. Photovoltaics and other solar irradiation products is actually something that me and my research group is doing, combining physics, chemistry, and engineering to make a difference in all aspects of renewable energy. The use of carbon dioxide as a resource for both utilization and storage and capture, using carbon dioxide to induce new materials and thermal energy storage to create also new fuels and chemicals for production is being worked at. Also, we have a lot of activities which are related to all of these processes, and one of the strongholds as well is to use chemical sensors. And this goes for just developing on new sensors for online process analysis, environmental monitoring, and health diagnostics. We also do a lot of collaboration between pharmacy, let's say the pharmaceutical sciences and biosciences, and having drugs available. They are very useful and good, but not in our sea. So the Baltic Sea is a very large, however, very shallow inland sea. And there are a lot of activities going on around marine biology and environmental monitoring, and to understand what the consequences are of the climate change for marine bed, but also on making sure that the drugs should not actually be able to change the ecosystems too much. Industrial energy efficiencies are worked on in many different ways, also from the concept of creating new logistical systems, but also understanding of both thermal processes, steel making, cost-effective industrial solutions for energy efficiency. So you can perhaps be part of this solution. We invite applications every year, annually. Typically, they open up in summertime, early summer, our PhD positions that you can actually find funded. So now is a good time to start looking into that if you are interested in joining a PhD position. To look into the web pages, finding a suitable research group, be in contact with a professor, and start preparing an application. We also have a few mobility stipends for internships for PhD students. If you are already located as a PhD student in India and you would like to do an internship with us, you can always contact me or actually a professor in a suitable research group. And we have a few internships possibilities to come to Finland for a maximum 6 months. This also goes for postdocs. So if you are interested in an up to 6-month fellowship at the Åbo Academy, the procedure is roughly the same. This is very simple. If you find a good host that you would like to work with, then ask the host to contact me or contact me directly, and we can see what can happen for that. If you don't find a suitable group, you can always send an email to me and ask if there would be possibility for something, or send it to the coordinator Charlotta Vendelin. You find our emails here, and we are looking forward to have you. Otherwise, when it comes to doing international masters or PhD programs, the structure for application and everything is pretty much similar in all other Finnish universities. With this, thank you very much for your attention, and we'll be around a while to be able to answer questions.
Thank you so much, Professor Österbacka, for very interesting research program you have, and the opportunities also I think are very encouraging to see that there is also possibilities for short-term stays with your academy, also for PhD and postdoc, and there are some fellowship programs as well. So that's really great to know. With that, we have concluded now the main part of today's webinar, which are the presentations and showcasing the opportunities which are there for all of you who are listening in. And I would now invite all our speakers, to come back into the scene. If you can put on your videos and we'll bring you spotlight you. And first of all, thanks a lot that you already have been looking at the questions which have come in and provided very insightful answers and replies. Especially there were questions like directly addressing some of you, and you have taken the time. And I have also seen Kit has been very active, and Natalia as well, helping to kind of go through the different questions which all our attendees have. I think I have been looking at them, and there, of course, there are some similar questions. There, of course, the major question is, I am a researcher in this particular field. I'm a mechanical engineer. I am looking in biomedical research. I am, I'm working in law or in trade. Is there something out for me? And Kit, you already have, shown how to search for those opportunities, and I think that there is nothing centralized in that sense. Or is there a centralized platform in Finland where I could go and look and search, okay, I'm looking for a PhD in sustainable, ecology or whatever? Or is it really we have to go to the different universities and look there? We have, of course, Euraxess as a platform, but that I hope our users know already. But what about in Finland? If you could just maybe highlight that again for us. Thank you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there is no one-stop shop to look at all the PhD positions opened by all the Finnish academia. But at least there is one link which lists all the links for the doctoral schools of all the 13 Finnish universities, which makes your job easier. Instead of looking into all the 13, that at least there's one link that you can follow where you find the doctoral schools, and you can follow those. In general, I think the professors will add after me that the positions are very multidisciplinary in nature. There is no straightforward PhD in microbiology or PhD in chemical engineering, nothing like that, which is what is the structure which we are used to in India. It's very field-specific PhD titles, but in Finland, it is not like that. And that's why you have to search for PhD positions very smartly, using very, very different keywords. Also, try to invest your time in looking into departments or faculties which are of interest to you. So you really have to go through the universities to find the nature of research that is being done by different research groups, and find the academic professors or potential supervisors who are good in that field or who have published something that is of very, very much of interest to you. So you really have to do your homework very well in order to apply for PhD positions. Open positions which are fully funded are open throughout the year. Every now and then, whenever there is a funding possibility, a PhD position is open. It's very difficult to put it in a schedule for these kind of positions. So you have to make it as a regular habit to look through them. So that's my short answer for this. Yes.
Can I
long
comment
answer.
this?
Yes,
Please, Professor Matti.
So typically in US, the PhD programs are really programs where you apply to a program. and then later on you identify your professor with whom you work with for your research. But that although there's a PhD program, but it's, as Kit said, open all the time, and it's really very question-centered. It's a problem-initiated thing that the student and the professor need to match. And sometimes it may be that the professor hasn't opened up a PhD position, but if he finds a brilliant prospective student, it may be that there is actually a match in terms of the research that the professor does, and this is the main thing. Then the secondary thing is to find the funding to pay the salary of the student, and that happens after discussing with the professor. And all of our professors are very keen to answer these questions of whether you might have a position available on the basis of what the prospective student already knows.
Regarding the eligibility criteria, are they kind of the same in all the programs, universities for international students, or are there like differences to it? Like, or like, of course, the question of language comes up, grades, you know, are there interviews, or is it just motivation letters and CV? Is there a centralized way of applying? Yeah, maybe Professor Jani, you were.
Yeah, in the case of a master's program, there's that centralized that you have to, that the qualifications are checked pretty carefully. For the PhD program, at least in our case, I mean, of course, you need to have a master's degree or equivalent that has to be shown, and that will be checked during the process for sure. But much more, I think it's like Matti said already, that's much more important that you contact the potential supervisor and you start developing your research idea with that person. And then actually I think it's usually clarified to both persons, both the supervisor candidate and the applicant candidate, that whether they kind of find the common tune there, and also whether they match the skill-wise match together as well. And that seems to be actually very efficient way of kind of finding the nice matches between the supervisors and students as well.
It's exactly the same in all that bachelor's and master's programs are by application at a certain time of the year, and there are specific requirements. But for PhD programs, it's based on need and match.
Yeah. And would you give how would be in your experience optimal approach to a potential supervisor? Like, what would you say what I would like to see from a candidate who is interested in the program, in the research we're doing? You know, what would be the right, you know, what would be that email which would draw your attention to the students? Maybe Professor Ronald Österbacher, maybe you could start with telling us, you know, if you can give us the insight on that.
So first of all, emails applying to a University of Württemberg or something else to the research program will be immediately dismissed. So check carefully on the research profile and also have an initial idea of what you would be interested in doing. This is something which interests me, because it is always clear that the research interest of the professor or the research leader and the prospective PhD candidate, when they match, it's always going to be good. And typically it means also that if you are interested in a particular area of research, it also means that you are highly motivated to work in that particular field. So really, as Matti and Jani already mentioned here, make a careful background check and see what type of research, and choose your field and research group wisely.
Professor René, would you like to add something?
Yeah, perhaps. So What I see is a disconnection, and perhaps a way to fill that gap is so something that is not self-evident, particularly when one is not involved in professional research. Precisely, people who are applying to doctoral programs, they want to join that, but they don't know that. Is that a lot of this research, most of these PhD programs are funded by particular projects. So the key to understand that is, so there's a professor or a scholarly leader that applies to a third party, let's say a governmental funder or a corporation or a cooperation partner, and then they get funding, and then they hire postdocs and PhDs. So that's more or less the way it works. So when one needs to think whether something is a good fit, perhaps not even the area of specialization of the professor is that useful. What you need to really know is what the project that is funding that particular position is all about. And then it starts making more sense, because then you go and then you see, all right, so for instance, there's this program on the, I don't know, the circular economy, or there's this other program on gender in the 19th century, I don't know what. And there you can then, as a prospective student, then you start thinking, this is something that might interest me because that has this kind of contact with the kind of work that I want to do. And that's, let's say, and this goes to answer your question, Samrat. So that's the kind of email that a prospective supervisor wants to get. A prospective supervisor wants to get this. First paragraph, dear professor, I don't know what, I know that you're working in this kind of issue, in this kind of project. Second paragraph, my interest in that context is this. This is something that I can contribute to this project because I have done this, or I don't know how to do this, but if I learn it, then I can be a very good team member or whatever. Third, if we can discuss this further, please reach out if you think this is something that is interesting. So meaning that the entry point is not so much whatever the professor is writing about, that might be, let's say, a hint, but in fact, what prospective students want to think of is what's the context of that particular project, and the way to do that is, well, all of these projects have websites. So that's not complicated, that's not secret at all. These are the websites that have been shared in the chat box right now. So for instance, something like the project that was presented before, like the INVEST project that Professor Erola was talking about, the project that I was talking before about digitalization, all these are projects that have their own website, and then you can reach out, and then in that context is when this amazing thing happens, which is what Professor Hämäläinen was referring to before, which is when you find the right person, then the funding is not so complicated. But that's the magic, let's say, that's the magic when you find that, when you find your place in the context of that project. So my message there would be locate people and locate projects in the context of who is funding, and then locate yourself in that wider area. And that's the email that most of the people want to get. Otherwise, they're going to get very easily dismissed, and we don't want that, obviously.
Thank you so much. Very grateful for the insights you have shared with us. Let's move a bit to some other important questions which I have seen also from yesterday and today's. Also, of course, there is this question of the funding, right? We have seen, okay, funding is available, but there are also programs where you have to bring in your own funding. There are channels for that, as we've seen through the EU, for instance. But let's say I have to bring I want a self-funded PhD or a self-funded postdoc. Are there any opportunities, when I'm there, that I can, create some extra funding? Is there a possibility to work next to my studies? How is it regulated in Finland? I think this also often is a key factor for making a decision if I want to apply to a country, if I have to bring my own funds. Who would like to take that?
I would say that the main point to understand is that you don't become a doctoral student primarily to get your PhD. It's like a spin-off of the research you do. So really this first step is very important, to identify the common interest of the supervising professor and the student. And it's almost like an apprenticeship in a way. So the studies, classroom studies are like a secondary thing. They have to make also sense from the point of view of the research. So the research is on the driver's seat in the PhD studies. Of course, if you have your own funding, then it's the funding problem is solved. Basically the salary.
Is it possible to work next to the PhD in Finland?
Yes, all PhD students are paid salary, like they are university employees who work for professors here.
I see. There's been an interesting question, of course, which is also related to, we are now in the post-pandemic area. But are there like any online courses one can take? Let's say, I don't have the funds, but I would like to come. I would like to be part of a Finnish lab university department. Are there any like online programs offered for international students at your universities? Yes.
I could take this question. There are a lot of open courses offered by the MOOCs of Helsinki University, for example, and there are a couple of free courses which are also offered by Aalto University. So anyone interested in learning for free from courses from Finnish universities can always look into it. I can post some links while the others are answering some other questions very quickly on this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
If I may jump there.
Yeah.
So two things. So there are, we at least in Lapland, we do offer some courses that can be taken online, but the whole program can't be taken online. It is, so I mean, I'm sure that some arrangement can be found, but you need to plan to spend time in Lapland in person. At least we don't have the option of a fully online PhD program. We don't offer that. So that's one thing. And then the other thing about self-funding, I think something that was mentioned before, I think was Professor Eerola who mentioned that that's something that we don't think so much when we're PhD candidates, let's say, is that these universities that were gathered here can support your own application for a third-party grant. Let's say you don't get the funding from the university, say from Lapland or any of the other universities that are here, but the University of Lapland supports your grant proposal from a third party, and then you bring your own. So it is in a way self-funded in the sense that you're bringing your own money, and that's actually a very successful way to do that, because then people are really going to look forward to support you, because then you're bringing forward new funds. And that can be done either, let's say, with funders in Finland. So for instance, Academy of Finland, or obviously with European Union money, the funds, that's something that has been discussed here. And also with other funders, let's say national funders in India, so on and so forth. That's something that can be also thought of. So it's meaning that there are three different ways. One, you apply to a university, you get the funding from the university. Second, the university through the professor helps you to get funding from a third party, and then you're bringing your own funds. And then third, the final thing is, well, you truly are self-funded, but that's very hard in a way. So the two first options are obviously ideal, and that's the conversation that you want to have with your prospective supervisor.
A few more questions. Oh yeah, please, Professor Jani.
Yeah, maybe I just continue a bit. We have actually, maybe it's a concern about if you have a national grant and whether that is enough for paying your living in Finland, expensive Finland. But what we have already done in some cases that we have provided this top-up funding in order to get to the same income level as what other PhD students would be, and that is definitely doable, but there are not that many those, so that we have. Those have been decided case by case basis. But from our point of view, it's of course great if you bring your own money, even part of that, that's already halfway there. So it's a benefit for us as well. So we definitely support that.
Okay. Oh, that's also good to know. Yeah, Kit, I see you would like to say something.
Yeah, in general, for those who are moving to Finland, there are some hidden or intangible benefits that you don't see it through the normal process. For example, your spouse gets a working permit when you're applying for a residence permit to Finland. So that's a big advantage for you, so that she or he can start working or look for jobs in Finland. And education, the school education is completely free of cost for your children if you're moving with your family. That's another big plus. So I think there are some advantages which are not seen in many other parts of the world. Also, the medical services are free of cost, or which has a very nominal cost for you to pay. So it's not huge at all if you're using the public health care services. And as a staff member, if you're a PhD student, if you're a staff member, most of you are staff of a university, so you get to access the employer benefits of the university, and in which private healthcare is also added for your use. So think of these things as on top of what you would be getting as funds for your PhD.
Thank you so much for that. I saw one question which really caught my eye, was the question about like industrial PhDs. You know, like we see this especially under the Marie Curie doctoral programs. There's a strong focus on also industrial doctorates, working with the industry, training young researchers, you know, to be more fit for working in the private sector with companies. So how is it in Finland? I'm sure there is a strong focus on that as well, but maybe you could just, you know, tell us a bit about that as well. Maybe
we have certainly PhD students who are working also in the industry. Then they are often part-time students, so that they spend some days of the week here in the department, and then the rest of the week they do their job in industry, which is of course invariably related to their PhDs. And then it's a little bit more challenging arrangement, so that preferably there's also a supervising professor here who is interested in the same thing. So the arrangements vary a lot. It may be even that this type of a student gets part of his or her salary from industry, and then for a certain amount of time of the week from here.
Okay. Perhaps building on that, for those who are listening, who are interested in that, a good way to find this kind of programs is Business Finland. So Business Finland is supports research of universities and business that is relevant, obviously, for business. And there you're going to see, so if you Google Business Finland, you're going to see that. And then you're going to see, so for instance, we do at Lapland, we have a couple of projects that are supported in part by Business Finland on new technologies that have to do with emotional data and also big data. And then those projects have, obviously, because they are funded by Business in Finland, they have a very important industrial element. So let's say it's not the only one, but a good way to start thinking about this kind of things is, you know, just Google Business Finland. You're going to see that they have support for research, and then you're going to see a lot of their academic partners, and then that's a way in which you can perhaps find someone that might be interested in the kind of things that you're doing.
Yeah, a Faculty of Art and Design also has industrial partners here at the University of Lapland. So they are doing joint projects with industrial partners on service design and on the development of service design. And our university also promotes entrepreneurship. So our students have some opportunities for getting spaces for their startups at the university.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you so much, Natalia, also for sharing this. And also Kit has, I think, shared something in the chat about, an example of industrial PhD. A couple more questions because we're almost reaching the end of the time for this webinar. Finland and the northern countries are very well known for the strong emphasis on gender balance. How is it reflected in the universities, like for international doctoral, postdoctoral candidates? Like, how is the reality in your universities when it comes to gender balance? Yeah, Yanni?
Yeah, I think I think it varies a lot between the disciplines, but I mean for our case, I think we have more than 80% are women already that we have employed. So, but I think that varies a lot. In general, I think the principle is that we are gender equal in all the hiring decisions and so forth. So that should be that's something that we don't actually. I mean, this is often asked about, and I don't very rarely I have a good answer to that. Apart from like, okay, look at the staff, then that probably tells you something. But of course, it's I mean, it varies. Let's say like that. So yeah.
Okay. Last question. I saw that, and that made me a bit smile. Was how suitable is the weather for Indians in Finland? We saw that Renee was talking about the ski resorts, the beautiful winters, the snow. Often when we think of countries like Finland, Norway, Sweden, the Nordic countries, immediately a chill comes. It's pretty cold there. But how do the others cope who have come to Finland from South Asia, from India? Like, what would you say, give an advice? Like, how is the weather suitable for Indians? And Kit, of course, you could also share something about your.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
Here's the silver lining: it's never too hot here.
Good. It's never so that's a plus point there.
For you.
That's a very positive thinking, yes, Matti. Yeah. Super good one. I would say that I've been living in Finland for the past 19 years, and then from very, very southern part of India. So if I could make it, I think any of you could make it as well. I think the way that we learn to adapt to different seasons in Finland and the different temperatures, it's really a good experience of learning how to dress up in layers and looking at the temperature every day. So I think you will learn to adapt, and then you will learn to dress up well. So if you're able to dress up well and with good winter gear and boots and stuff, it's very, very possible to live. It's not that bad. You might even start enjoying the winter more than the other seasons. That's my personal experience. The beauty of winter, it's very unique in Finland.
During please, Natalia.
Yeah, I think one more thing which is different here is also that you have to adapt to darkness more than to low temperatures, because in winter days are getting shorter here and it's really dark. So it's something you should be prepared to. And also there are couple of differences between North Finland and South Finland, because here in North Finland, in Lapland, we have so-called white nights in spring and summer, so days are very, very long. And we have long nights in winter, so basically it gets completely dark already at, let's say, 1 or 2 p.m. in winter here. So that's something you should be prepared to experience.
Yeah. It's of course fascinating to see the contrast between summer and winters in the Nordic countries.
Yeah. Maybe I can add that and neither Finns are adapted to the darkness. This is everybody is equally bad with that. So at least you are in a good company. That's
yeah.
But similarly, we are surprised by the very long daylight time in the summer, even in the south of Finland. Every spring when it comes, it's really wonderful. The quality of light also.
Yeah, that's true. Well, during my PhD time in Norway, which is not far away from Finland, I got two key messages from my Norwegian fellows was that there is no bad weather, there's only bad clothing, first of all, and summer is the best week in Norway. That was the two key messages I kept during my time. No, but thank you so much. Let's get back into this webinar and say thank you to all of you who have attended us. I see we still have like almost 100 here, and a really big thank you to all the speakers and presenters, and also for the excellent Q&A session. It was really a pleasure to have you with us, and a very big thank you to KIT and FICOR, for the big support and the co-organization of these webinars. We will send you everything you need to know now. In the follow-up, you will find the recordings, the slides, the presentations, the contact details of the speakers, and we wish you all the best to find your ideal PhD position, that ideal match for your career. And, maybe you will be soon in Finland. Okay, thank you so much to everyone. Very good evening here, and a good weekend to everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Samrat.
Bye.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.